Hello, Wolfpack. To the untrained eye, Telcoin doesn't look too bad. But to someone of experience in technical analysis, it looks terrible. Okay? And that's just the situation right now. We don't look good on Telcoin. Okay, we saw this triangle, which has been forming for so long, by the way, since June. And actually, you could even say all the way back here, the trend line since April. Okay, and we've been forming that for so long, right? Over 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, whatever it is. You know, it's been forming, and we saw a break to the upside, and everyone thought it was going to be all good. We actually did a video just before this happened, right? I think somewhere around late October, we had a little break to the upside here on Telcoin, and that was excellent. And I was genuinely convinced that would be the rally that would take us to all-time highs, and we did get a massive profit on that breakout. But it didn't last, right? We got around 100% up within a day, but it really didn't last, and we just retraced all the way back down. And that's not what you want to see, right? That's called a fake out, right? A fake out is not good. And even on this breakout, we thought maybe it'd be okay, because what we actually saw when we saw the breakout was a break to the upside, and when we came back down and we retested support, and we thought the most logical move from there would be to swing back upwards, but it just didn't happen. We fell through the floor for Telcoin, and that's partially because Bitcoin crashed at the same time, or dropped down, or whatever you want to say, at the same time from the all-time high at 69, 68k. And so Telcoin has literally just been downtrending ever since, and this is interesting, right? Because altcoins on a general basis haven't been doing that. Okay, you know, what we've generally seen on altcoins is a little bit of a drop when Bitcoin dropped down, but then stabilization, right? Telcoin's just dropping. I mean, look at this trend right now. That is insane, right? We're just seeing, it's not even a channel, it's just a straight downwards line, straight downwards. It's been happening for around 3 weeks, all right? Every single second daily candle close is just going straight downwards. We could draw a little channel formation there. Very, very, very steep channel, which would, lead me to believe that something is going on in terms of the fundamentals. But, look, honestly, what does this mean for Telcoin? That's the very important question, because we can say right now that a break to the downside of this triangle is absolutely detrimental, right? If we measure a move from the top to the bottom of this triangle and bring it down to the breakout point, we can see that Telcoin's basically targeting zero. Right? In fact, it's targeting negative numbers. Obviously, that's not going to happen. It's impossible. But the fact is, it doesn't look good, right? It's losing value dramatically just in, since the drop back into the triangle, and we'll just go from here. It's down already 37%, and that's only in a 3-week period. It doesn't seem to have any relief. I mean, Ethereum has been kind of pumping a little bit, and altcoins have been catching some relief, but Telcoin's just dropping straight down. So the question I want to ask is Telcoin done for? And what could potentially happen in the future for Telcoin? Well, I would say, based off the first analysis, which is this triangle, it looks terrible. Okay, it looks really bad. But sometimes you do see coins do this before they want to rally. Okay, and I'm not saying Telcoin's going to do that, but the point is, we really don't want to be going lower than this, because even though we, and the problem, one of the problems with Telcoin right now is we've actually dropped below our last support zone before the levels we saw earlier this year in March and April, okay? We can see that even in July, we bottomed out at around 9 cents on Telcoin. We're currently at 13.5 cents, and our last major support was at 14.5 cents. We've dropped below our last major support zone, and we're going to be closing below that on this daily candle. So, look, that's not usual. Coins don't usually do that, right? We had the September bottom, which we held at 14.5. I would have said previously that that would be the lowest we could healthily go for Telcoin. I still stand by that. I don't think this move is healthy at all. In fact, we dropped below a major support box that we needed to hold, which was the VVPR. And currently we're in a massive crevice on the VVPR, which means it's getting progressively easier for Telcoin to move down faster and faster until we reach around 9 to 7.5 cents, okay? That's our next major support, 9 to 7.5 cents. Now, the thing with Telcoin is it is so dramatically undervalued that if it keeps dropping, it might actually find support where there is not support, right? On one of these miniature green candles, people might realize how undervalued this coin is, and they might buy into it even though it hasn't found support on a technical analysis level. We are below all of our critical SMAs. We are below the POC and the VVPR. In fact, we're coming towards the POC and the VVPR, which is at 7 cents. I don't think we're going to go all the way down to 7 cents unless Telcoin literally dies in terms of fundamentals. To reach our next major support would be another 31% drop, right? That's just to reach that region. Now, do I think we'd bounce off that region if we got there? Yes, I do, right? That was the bounce in July, and we held that for resistance all through March, all the way to May. So that would be an obvious bouncing zone. If Telcoin does reach that region, you can get a good swing swing trade on Telcoin, because it will bounce even if the coin is dying, which I'm not sure if it is or not. But if it is dying, you could get an easy bounce off Telcoin there, and then it'll probably just reject back down if it did something like that. But what we really want to be doing for Telcoin, if we're going to maintain some sort of resemblance of health in this coin, is finding support where there is no historical support. Okay, we need to find new support, fresh support somewhere, right? It's not really, it doesn't seem to be anywhere really, but I suppose we could find support somewhere in the middle here at around 12 to 11 cents like we did in July. But, I'm skeptical about it. But I really don't think we're going to drop another 31%. I think that's abnormal. If Bitcoin continues dropping, which is definitely a possibility considering how much of a hard time it's having to break out of this triangle region, we definitely could drop down further to that region. That would be a good swing trading opportunity. But if Bitcoin does take off and Ethereum takes off, that there will be some sort of support that has to be found in the middle here for Telcoin. But what I'm saying is, from technical analysis standpoint, it looks terrible, and there's no denying that. The weekly chart just doesn't even give us any hope at all in Telcoin. And we'll get into things that do give us hope in a second, but the weekly chart looks even worse, right? We can see on a macro scale, triangle that's been forming since May this year, which is a descending triangle formation, has finally managed to break to the downside. Not only has it broken to the downside, we retested it for a resistance here, and we've further dropped down. And this is the Bitcoin pair, So we've further dropped down in the Bitcoin pair, which means Telcoin is getting continuously devaluated against Bitcoin, which is the opposite of what you want to see altcoins doing. Okay, the next major support is down below here at around 2,000 sats. We're currently at 2,300 sats, and that's another thing about Telcoin. We're in the middle of resistance and support on the Bitcoin pair and your USD pair, so we have no immediate support, right? The next support for Telcoin on the Bitcoin pair is only 14% away. In fact, that's a bad measurement, around 20% away. And the next major support is around 33% away, right? So we have 33% to go into a major support on the Bitcoin pair and 31% to go into the major support of the USD pair. We are in no man's land here on Telcoin, and we're basically hoping that we can find support out of thin air. Now, I'm not currently invested in Telcoin. I have used it for swing trading in the past, but I'm not invested in Telcoin at all at the current moment. So I say we, just as I do usually. I say that with Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever coin I'm doing. So I'm not saying we as in, we're in this together and Telcoin's dropping. Just a bit of terminology clarification there. As for the weekly chart, looks the same thing as the daily chart, right? Drop below a major triangle, and we're dropping to the downside. Now, let's get into things that can give us some hope for Telcoin, okay? One of the things that is giving us some hope for Telcoin in this terrible, terrible, terrible situation is the fact that we have, let me bring this up quickly. I'll just delete these dots that I've put down here before I bring that up. 1 second, guys. Delete that and delete that. We have, reached a bit of a critical support zone on the RSI. Okay, we've reached September levels on the RSI, and we're coming up on July levels on the RSI. We've also reached April levels in the RSI, which we saw a dip here in April before moving to the upside. So the RSI is in a good zone for a bounce. We can also see that the MACD has reset to similarly to September levels, okay, and that's in a good zone for a bullish MACD cross if we do have an uptrend that would start here. We also have the stochastic RSI showing us that we're critically undervalued, at points in which we've seen in history. We saw this undervaluation in March before a move from around 3 cents to around 8 cents, and we saw, critical undervaluation here in April before a move from around 0.05 cents to around 5 or 6 cents, and we saw it in July here before a move from July to the top of September. I've been saying on Telcoin 13 cents, all this, etc. What I actually mean is 1.3 cents, not 13 cents. So that's a clarification there. I'm sure you guys would have noticed that and you would have put that together in your own mind, but some people apparently don't have the capacity to do things like that. So look, another thing that will give us hope in Telcoin. So essentially the RSI, the MACD, and the stochastic RSI have all bottomed out, and they all look like we're primed for a bounce. The only problem is the USD price and the Bitcoin pair price don't, right? They look terrible. But another thing that will give us some promise in Telcoin, and this is from TechDev on Twitter, that I've taken this off and I've kind of expanded upon it a little bit, is the fact that Telcoin looks insanely similar on the weekly chart on the logarithmic scale, on the logarithmic chart, to what XRP looked like in 2017 around the same time period. Okay, so we have Telcoin here, we have XRP here. Okay, this is 2017. We can see that XRP broke to the upside on December the 11th or around that region, right? December the 11th is around 2 weeks away for Telcoin, right? Just under 2 weeks. So look, it's definitely something worth considering that could be happening. Even if we move this triangle around to make it look a bit more appealing, we can see that this retest actually came at around the same time for Telcoin before the move upwards, right? We're seeing a retest of the bottom support, and we should have one more week and then a blast if it's going to follow that fractal. Obviously, you can't really measure fractals from different coins, especially considering that XRP is on most major exchanges and Telcoin is only on KuCoin, but it is actually acting to be its own exchange to a certain extent, so that's interesting to see as well. But the point is, there is similarities. We have seen structure like this before on other coins in the past, and they have continued to move the upside. I mean, XRP on this example managed to move after that similar structure to Telcoin from around 20 cents to around $3.60 in a matter of a month. So Telcoin could do something similar. The only problem is the difference between XRP and Telcoin right now is that XRP actually had support, right? Telcoin has no support for another 30% drop. So there are differences. And we can also see that as another similarity between these two coins is that XRP was below its POC and Telcoin is below its POC as well. So there is the potential for a bounce. What I would be saying is I wouldn't be relying on it happening, and I would be saying on Telcoin, if you guys are investing in Telcoin, or you'd like to invest in Telcoin, I'd honestly be waiting for a bottom, right? There's no point trying to catch the knife. Do I think this downtrend can continue forever? No, I don't, unless there's something fundamentally wrong with the coin, then I do, right? I haven't necessarily looked into that, and I don't really care too much. I'm a technical analysis person. If there's something fundamentally wrong with the coin, that's up to you. You need to look into that. That's a different scenario. From what I've seen, I don't think there is, but the point is, there's no point trying to catch a knife, right? We did have a similar downtrend like this here in July, and it ended up, working into being bottoming out in this region at around 1 cent, right? Which is our July bottom. We can see this drop actually occurred all the way from 3 cents to 1 cent. This drop has been in a similar region, right? 3 cents, and we're probably going to go, well, we could go all the way down to 1 cent as well, just like we saw in that region there. So it's interesting to say the least. But essentially, that's my analysis on Telcoin. Just to sum it up, we're in the middle of support and resistance. I wouldn't try to catch a falling knife. If you are interested in Telcoin, wait for a bottom, wait for some convincing price action as well. I'd actually be waiting, even if we go down further, I'd either be waiting for a swing trade when we hit this 1 cent region, right, which is a major support zone. We can easily get a quick bounce off of that, or I would be going for waiting to re-enter or get above this 1.4 cent support zone, 1.5 cent support zone. From that point, at least we have something to work with. Right now, we don't have anything to work with, right? We're just dropping downwards brainlessly. And even though we have indicators that we could be bottoming out shortly, as is coming in from the RSI, stochastic RSI, and MACD, it's not confirmed, and those indicators can remain undervalued for an extensive period of time, okay? So just because the stochastic RSI looks like it's bottomed out, it doesn't mean you should be buying at current prices. It can easily drop even more. In fact, we can give you an example of that right now, right? So we can see with the stochastic RSI on Telcoin, it's actually been bottomed out since the 17th of November, which is currently around 38% higher than current prices. It's been bottomed out since we were 38% higher than current prices. So yes, it does mean we are undervalued, but you can stay undervalued for an extensive period of time. I'd be waiting for some bullish price action. I wouldn't just be buying the dip brainlessly. It's not the kind of dip you want to buy brainlessly, because we're not even dipping, we're actually crashing. It's a crash when you're below critical support zones, and that's what we're doing. We're crashing below our critical support zones. So wait for some confirmation of some bullish price action. That's what I'd be doing. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.